I'm waiting for my bro. I'm always waiting for my bro.
Thanksgiving tips.
Yep.
Brothers Bistro, Hot Bites, bringing you tips to ensure your success.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner, so we thought we would come to you with a few simple tips. We tend to go over these every holiday season because our holiday seasons here in America tend to be centered around food, for better or for worse. Mostly for worse, right? We would encourage you to center your holidays around relationships and around the people and the occasion and not necessarily the food, but we recognize it's part of the culture and it's a little hard to avoid sometimes. So we're going to give you a handful of tips here that we think will help you make your holiday season that much more healthy.
Right. Well, and it all I think to start this off, it's all about preparation, right?
You got to plan ahead. Those who plan to fail to plan.
Right. My brother loves that.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, what gets measured gets done.
Right.
One of those things, right?
Right.
So if you bring some sort of a lean and green or something that would qualify as the lean or the green, I mean, that's the first thing you can do, right? And then you know what you can go to because you're bringing it. So if you're going to somebody else's house, you maybe can't bring the turkey, but you could bring maybe, like another one of our tips is you could bring a food scale and you could measure out the turkey.
Sure. Yeah, that might be a little tough for some, but it's not a bad idea. You could bring a little food scale and measure out your portions.
What happens when you get the portions when you don't measure?
Yeah.
You either go over or under.
Yeah.
You can be substantial.
And neither one of them are good. The other tip that we heard was keep your drink, your non-sugary, non-alcoholic drink, that your on-plan drink, in your dominant hand, because you're less likely to reach out for the chips and the dip and the all if you've got something in your hand. That's not a bad one, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right?
I got one here that says, we talked about this, filling up on the turkey,
right?
The protein, as opposed to the Jello or the yams or the sugary sweet stuff. So put that stuff in there first. And I would say, if you're going down the banquet table, grab just a smidgen of the things you know that you probably shouldn't have as much of, but that protein.
Start with the protein and the lean veggies, the veggies and the lean protein. And the other rule that you can apply to those other things you wouldn't consider necessarily on plan, tell yourself you're going to have the 3 taste rule. You only get 3 bites or 3 tastes, and then you're done. So you don't put more on your plate than just what it would take for you to get a couple of 3 tastes. And they say 90% of the taste is in the first 3 bites.
A lick, a bite,
a BLT, right? Bite, a lick, or a taste.
Yeah. So you can also use the tool that we talk about a lot. Dr. A came up with it. It's called the stop, challenge, and choose. And the idea is you see something you really want, but you know it's not something you should do. You stop yourself and kind of reflect on, is this really, and the challenge part is this really what I want to do? Is this going to move my path forward in whatever it is that I'm trying to do? And then you choose, make a choice. And if you make a choice and the choice is, I want that whatever, or I don't want to go to whatever, or whether it's going to the gym or doing whatever. I mean, you've made a choice, and choices aren't bad. It's just a choice.
Right.
So don't demonize the choice.
But it's better if you can pre-declare those things and you know what the plan is going in. Like we talked about before, planning ahead is really important. You want to stay focused on your plan and committed to your plan. And like we said when we started this whole thing out, focus on the relationships, focus on the people and the other things there rather than just the food. And that will help you keep yourself a lot more healthy. If you're thinking about starting a health program, we would tell you, listen, Thanksgiving and Christmas are only 2 days out of the year. Don't let those 2 occasions stop you. We got a lot of people that say, I'll start after Christmas or I'll start after Thanksgiving. That's just 1 day a year. We can work with 1 day a year. Right?
And I would just say too that because you're on a nutrition program, it doesn't mean you can't participate in the holiday.
Right.
Like you still can participate. I think it's actually a really good time to learn the strategies when it's fresh and new, and people will be more supportive than I think we think. A lot of times we think, I can't do this. True. It's going to be a kind of a pain. But in this way, you say, you can even go so far as to have a fueling. Have one of our pre-declared snacks, what we call fuelings, before you go. And what does that do? That takes the edge off. You're not as hungry. A lot of times when you get to these events, you're waiting for the main course. So
Yeah.
you end up filling up with all this stuff because you're starving.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say, and then I'll hand it over to my brother. He can get a last, because he always wants to get the last word. Is I would say stay away from the alcohol if you can, because alcohol one drink tends to lead to 4 or 5 drinks, and then everything that's carbohydrate heavy tends to call to you. So it's better.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience, buddy.
It's better if you can abstain entirely. I think you can keep up your resistance a little bit easier than if you say, well, I'll just have one, because invariably one leads to 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the other thing too is, remember that whatever it is that you're bringing, if it's something that you can have, you've at least got that to go to, right? If all the stuff around you is stuff that you don't think you can have, you feel like you're cutting everything out, just have a little bit of the things that you maybe shouldn't have as much of, and focus on the things you can have.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think what you're going to find out is that you actually enjoy the holiday more. I know that's what I have found out. I'm not super stuffed. I'm not super sleepy and tired.
That's true.
And I feel like I feel like I won. I got away, and I normally I'm so done. You can stick a fork in me.
Right. And Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So write back to us. Tell us how your Thanksgiving went. We would love to help you. If you're interested in getting healthy and you're intrigued by some of the things we've been talking about, reach out. We'd love to help you, and we're happy to do it.
Yeah, we're Clark Brothers Bistro. We're here for your health.